everyone, welcome to Wicked.west.books. My name is Meg West, and this is Corsana by Charles Wellington II. I was sent this book for free from the author in exchange for an honest review, and it's about time that I gave that review. I finished this book at midnight last night, and now it's time for the review. This will be a spoiler-free review. I will be making notes of some of the things in the book, but nothing will be overly spoilery for the book so that you can pick it up if you would like to. My first impression with this book was that it has a beautiful cover, and the plotline to it sounds absolutely amazing. You have this guy named Christopher, who goes by CK, and he ends up meeting new people to adventure with, and they have the chance to become the hero that Corsana and their hometown of Asic really, really need. And they just have to go through a lot of training to get to the point where they're ready to actually rescue everyone, save lives, and be heroes, and that is their ultimate goal. This book is definitely based on a Dungeons & Dragons game, and if you have never played Dungeons & Dragons before and you want a view of what the storylines to those are, this is a fantastic representative of this. And you really get an idea how a Dungeons & Dragons game night will go just from reading this book. And you can tell if you've played Dungeons & Dragons and you know what you're looking for, you can tell where these characters rolled high and rolled low, and depending on how their actions went through. It has really good growth for them as heroes, where they start out with and where they end up at. You can really see their growth through their fighting abilities, their spellcasting abilities, and everything in between. And for that reasons, I like Corsana. I did, however, give Corsana 2-star rating, and there are a few big reasons that only really need one solution to fix everything I thought was wrong with Corsana. One of the things that bothered me is that because this is based on a tabletop game where you tell everyone at the table your actions, it was reflected in the writing style. There is a big thing with good writing that is show, don't tell. You show your readers how your characters are feeling by tics and things that your characters do. You don't tell them your character is mad. You mention rising blood pressure, beating hearts, and you give hints at it that show the character is mad instead of telling you. You can't really do that in a Dungeons & Dragons game. You have to flat out tell the other players playing how your character feels. So some of that is okay in here, but I really had wished a lot of the time that it had been switched over to showing. Maybe not all the time, because like I said, it is based on a game where you have to tell the other characters how you feel, but it's a book, so it should have more showing. Another issue that I had is that consistency was not great throughout the book. One minute you're telling me that this is a well-guarded town with a 3-story wall around it, with 3 entries guarded by guards, with a guardhouse at each gate to really protect the people of Asic, and the next you have goblins overrunning the town. Goblins overrunning the town with no forewarning, and you barely give people enough time to get outside the buildings that they're in before they're killed dead by goblins. And at one point there is a character who rides up on a horse, then jumps off a tree. And there was no transition there, and really I think it was meant to be a typo, but lots of inconsistencies like that throughout the book. And one of those inconsistencies was the main character. I didn't really think that he should be acting like he did at the end of the book. It doesn't go along with how he starts off this whole thing with, where he is demanding that he get paid for these heroic things, and it just didn't strike me as something that CK would have done at the beginning of the book. So that could just be a bad character growth, like from a good character to a bad character, but I didn't like that. The relationship between CK and the girl that he falls in love with in this book, I didn't believe at all. I don't care if they stay together or if they break up, or it was just inconsistent. In one minute they're saying, I love you so much, and then the next minute they are doing something that's completely off from feelings of love for each other, in my opinion. And this leads up to my final issue with Corsana, which is by itself the reason it got 2 stars. Editing is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. It got to the point I picked up a pen and started editing it while I was reading. The pink on these pages is my edits made to it. Switched to gold for a different color, different reading experience. A few pages later, went back to pink because it's bright and shiny and you can really read it in there. I mean, it says it's edited. Here at the beginning, it says editing by Pipeline Editing. And it was not edited, and it drove me absolutely crazy because it's a decent story. It really is. It's a good story. It ended in a way that I kind of would like to read book 2, but the editing in this book made it practically unreadable. It was so bad. And before you think that I'm just nitpicking at it, some of it was nitpicking. Some of my edits were things I would prefer this word over this word, or I don't like what was used here. But the first edit I made, the first one that I actually had to take a pen to the book to do, is 12 pages in, and I would like to just read that sentence for you. Excuse me, 13 pages in. I'm angry. As she knelt beside him, deliver the potion, the ends of her hair tickling his nose. Period. That's a sentence. It's not a sentence, and it really should, if you're going to make it a sentence by itself. As she knelt beside him to deliver the potion, the ends of her hair tickled his nose. Not tickling. At one point, a character hits someone on accident with a bat. And I like to picture it as a bat, except that in reality, she's hitting someone with her bag, and that got missed. At one point, here on page 55, the date is July 19th. Flip forward to page 70, chapter 5. It's now July 1st. And there was no time travel involved. The second date is supposed to be later on in the book, and that got completely missed. They took down one of the bad guys and bounding and gagging him. The correct form of the word should be binding, not bounding. At one point, a father speaks softly and the kid's reaction is horrified. If I'm in a house and a dad speaks softly to have his kids play outside and their reaction is to be horrified, I'm calling childhood services because you should not be horrified of your father for asking you to play outside. Bad word choice there, or just really good shadowing. I can't really tell yet. Could be either or. Someone keeps it close to the vest. It was easy to push aside, but very hard to ignore. Mr. Antilla smiled C and stopped his cart. It's just a random C in the sentence. At one point, I'm assuming Briller is a name, even though it had not been capitalized. And someone stood a whole head talker. Editing was terrible. And I would like to read book 2. It ended in a place that makes me curious for what happens with book 2, but it needs editing. It needs so much editing. It needs a new editor, and without that, I can't continue reading the series because I am not the type of reader who can ignore that bad of editing errors. It's got a good story. It's got characters that are inconsistent at some points. It does a lot of telling instead of showing, but really everything that's wrong with this book, almost everything that's wrong with this book, can be fixed by having a good editor. Editing is important, and this book just did not have it. Please edit the book. That is my only request for the story, and it will help immensely. It's just edit. So yeah. That's all I really have to say about Corsana by Charles Wellington II. If you are interested there is a link below to the Amazon page for it so that you can buy it yourself should you wish to. So if you have any books that had bad edits through it or any bad editing that stands out to you in your memory, I would like to know about those books below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. I post videos every Thursday and sometimes other days, or else I lose books. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wicked day.